Geordie Journo's back at the Newcastle United Media Centre. It's Carabao Cup.
You got the
press
cup fever?
conference. No.
Come on, you do, man.
Maybe I do, maybe I do.
Do, man, come on.
Yes,
This is it, this is the
Newcastle
stuff.
United going to Wembley. Liverpool Carabao Cup final this weekend. Speaking to Eddie Howe, and a nice little treat with Alexander Isak and Bruno Guimaraes.
Yep.
Speaking in sort of the media day, which sort of got cut from last time. That was a big day. You were there. This time, very professional, very downplayed, if you like, speaking on the stage, and it was nice to speak to Bruno and Alexander Isak on the record, because it very rarely happens these days. But yeah, we'll start where we'll always start, with Eddie Howe. Injuries.
Yeah.
Well, Alexander Isak was probably gave the biggest injury update, but what injury updates do we have ahead of the Carabao Cup final?
Well, I think the really good news is that there's no injury update out of the Carabao Cup final.
You didn't like Eddie Howe's pause?
No, I didn't. So yeah, Eddie Howe was asked if there was any fresh injuries ahead of the final, and he did. I don't know if it was just me in the moment, but it felt like he took a really long pause, and then my face, and then he came out of the news that there was no fresh injuries. He just name dropped the players that they unfortunately lost.
Yeah, doesn't
last
mean
week.
much, Eddie Howe saying there's no fresh injuries, but it was good to see Alexander Isak come out and say the fact he's talking to us would imply he's fine. He said he's fine. He hasn't changed any sort of training routine. He hasn't missed any training. He said the actual injury speculation, which we're probably guilty of somewhat, was, what did he say? Dramatic. So yeah, Alexander Isak's fine, and that's going to be important. 3 goals in 5 games against Liverpool. I asked him how much he likes playing against Liverpool, and I think he probably highlighted the one area Newcastle could get some success. It's on the break, on the counter, the transition, the way Liverpool play lends itself well to that, and Alexander Isak has scored goals against Liverpool doing that. You go back to his debut, he scored twice doing that, one got disallowed, but I mean, he enjoys playing Liverpool, so Newcastle will need him to end that Wembley scoring curse, which Bruno acknowledged in somewhat humorous fashion.
I think that the 2 players that one sat in front of us today, they're the
men.
They are the men. Certainly Isak, because you look. I mean, Newcastle never get any joy at Anfield whatsoever, but they literally didn't lay a glove on Liverpool at Anfield a couple of weeks back now, and that was mainly because they didn't have Alexander Isak to be able to essentially give Virgil van Dijk a run around, because Virgil van Dijk's the best defender probably in the world, but Alexander Isak is a man that is capable of giving them a run around, as I say. So I think having him available is massive. I think the question marks around his fitness is because on Monday I don't think he looked his silky freshness, if that's even a thing.
Yeah, it's fully fresh self. Yeah.
But I don't know.
Silky freshness.
I think that's probably more down to how Newcastle play at the same time. They couldn't get him in the game.
Yeah.
Is it players subconsciously as well, sort of saving themselves? Look, we've always tried to dismiss that on this channel, but I do think as soon as that Carabao Cup final was booked, I think it was on everyone's mind, and I'd be surprised it wasn't on the players' mind. I know the professionals, and it shouldn't really be, but I think subconsciously it just plays
Bruno
a part.
admitted it. He said it's been a distraction. I mean, I think 6 weeks or 5-6 weeks between a semi-final, second leg and a final is a long time when you've got a lot of games to play in that time as well, and it has been a distraction for everyone. Every little thing surrounding Newcastle has been played with the backdrop and the context of, well, the Carabao Cup final. Every little niggle, every little minor victory, minor defeat in games and things like that, every player's form, the goalkeeper situation, it's just everything. It's like, well, it's Carabao Cup final coming up. And Eddie Howe wouldn't entertain any sort of team selection hints either.
No, I wouldn't.
Asked about the goalkeeper, I said I'm going to keep that to myself, and asked him, it was a bit of a final press conference question. It was the last question of the press conference, and it was just all the questions had been asked really, and I just went, well, 3 at the back, 3 centre backs really worked well for you against Arsenal in the semi-final. Sven Botman's no longer available. Is that an option for Sunday?
Bring in Cafu. Crafu.
Yeah. Because he's a good
lad.
And with Fabian Schär's sort of form teetering, Dan Burn will be on cloud 9 after an England call up, which we can get on to. But I think that's certainly an option, and Eddie Howe did entertain it somewhat. He said that's something we'll look at. It's an option to us. Obviously were quite light on bodies in defence. But yeah, Emil Krafth would be the man to come in.
Could Eddie Howe play the ultimate game of poker? Because I think in that press conference he spoke about keeping the principles and going about the business. But could he make a little change? Could he make a big change like that? Could he change formation? I wouldn't rule anything out.
Well, we were shocked he did it against Arsenal. It worked to a T. It was brilliant, albeit with Sven Botman, who is a very good centre-back on his day and was fit at the time. So yeah,
I wouldn't rule anything out. That's what I would say. I think Eddie Howe knows the significance of this game. I think even he can sit and talk about taking a game by game. But in his mind as well, this has got to be in the back of your mind. Everything you do in selection, everything you do, even picking Nick Pope for example, everything you're doing has to be with the view of the Carabao Cup finals, because it means so much. Newcastle haven't won a trophy for so long. Yeah. It's literally all that matters. We go to Wembley this weekend, and it's like life or death to us. It's life or death to Newcastle United. Whereas at Liverpool, I feel like it's more of a bonus. They've got the Premier League title in the bag. They're going to qualify for the Champions League. They won the Carabao Cup last year. They don't need a Carabao Cup. Newcastle United need a Carabao Cup, and Eddie Howe knows that. And Eddie Howe could be the man that is the first manager since '69.
Yeah, Eddie Howe definitely knows what it means. He was speaking quite passionately about everything. He will be the first, or could be the first, Newcastle manager since Joe Harvey in 1969 to win a major trophy for Newcastle United. That's writing yourself in the history books. 70 years since Doug Livingston led Newcastle to the FA
Good
Cup
knowledge.
in 1955. So yeah, it's proper. It's something Kevin Keegan couldn't do, Bobby Robson couldn't do. Eddie Howe will know that, but I think a big thing and a message I got from Eddie Howe was the sort of change from last time, where a lot was made of the history. The trophy drought was up in the training ground. It's been 68 years since Newcastle won a domestic trophy. It's now 70. That's not really the focus this time. It's all about the here and now for Newcastle, and I think it has to be. I think for us as journalists, fans, everything like that, we can naturally look back, because we've lived through it. As long as you've been a fan, you've lived through it. Newcastle, I think their mentality should be, and looks like it is, we've got 90 minutes, 120 minutes potentially on Sunday to beat Liverpool. We'll deal with the fallout after. If that means making history, brilliant.
Yeah, I said after the Arsenal game, I think you were in agreement, where the Wembley trip last time, or because it was 25 years since the last time they got to Wembley, it just felt like it would have been a day out, a weekend out for everyone. Whereas I think maybe the fans still feel that way. You can have a Covent Garden on Saturday night and have a good time before the game, and look, fair play to every fan that does it. You don't get these moments, don't come along very often, or haven't in Newcastle's history. Yeah. So enjoy it whilst you can, because you don't know when the next one will be. You hope it's going to keep on coming, but you don't know that. But I think with Eddie Howe and his players, I think they feel the difference from last time, and I think they're going there with a mindset to win. And I'm not doubting that was there last time. I just feel like there's a greater focus on, we lost last time, now this time we go there to win, and we really do make history. Because look, if Newcastle go and win on Sunday, Eddie Howe is a legend, and all the players go down as legends as well. So that the incentive to have that at this football club, at such a historic club, would be, I think that's a real incentive.
Yes, that's the carrot.
It is the carrot.
Yeah, and can Newcastle do it? I don't know. I think the confidence from Eddie Howe and Alexander Isak and Bruno could be felt. I think as journalists and as fans, naturally you're a little bit more cynical, you're a little bit more pessimistic, you're almost preparing yourself for failure just so you're less disappointed. Some people will be blindly, yes, we go, we win, almost to make themselves feel better in that way as well. But yeah, I think Bruno in particular, he said, on our day we can compete with the best. Liverpool are the best team in the world, and we can beat them.
Yeah, just so happens to have to get the. I mean, last time they played one of the worst Manchester United teams
to ever reach a final, really, in the modern era.
Whereas this time they are playing the best team in the country. And
the Carabao Cup, a lot will get made of it. They've had to beat, to win the Carabao Cup, they'll have to beat every one of the current Premier League's top four. And they've knocked 3 of them out so far. Can they make it full?
I hope.
Yes.
It's just one of them where it's because it's Liverpool. best team in the country, probably still the best team in Europe despite being knocked out.
Newcastle,
bogey team and beat them in 10 years. So if you to challenge beating Ali and Kenny, if you look at the probabilities, the probability is you're probably not going to win, but it's a one-off game. It's a chance to make history, and for that anything can happen. So that's the thing I'm clinging on to.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough, and I think something it's important to touch upon that will get lost in the noise of the Carabao Cup final was news that broke last night, but was confirmed just literally seconds before Eddie Howe walked through the door in his press conference, which was Dan Burn, England call-up. A surprise England call-up, I think it's fair to say. 32 years old, he's been in good form for Newcastle in the past and not got England call-ups, and he's had a really good start to the season, I thought. And as Newcastle's form has faltered, he's been hot and cold, but rewarded by Thomas Tuchel, who was there at West Ham on Monday night with a place in the England squad.
Yeah, I bet Dan Burn didn't think he'd be going back to Wembley 5 days after he went with Newcastle.
I know.
Which is it's. I mean, I seen the news last night and I was shocked, and I don't mean that in any sort of disrespectful way. I just didn't expect Dan Burn. I don't think Dan Burn expected at the age of 32, soon to be 33.
Not quite the profile of player you expect for a first England call-up. Yeah.
But I think you've got to give massive credit to the man and the player that he's been for this club, because when he first signed, I'd go on record to say I thought he'd be here 6 months, or he'd be in the team 6 months, and he'd be sort of phased out. In that time, he's faced challenges from Sven Botman, and I know, obviously, in his first season, Sven Botman played. Dan Burn then found a place at left back. Of course, since then, Sven Botman's been injured, but Dan Burn has still maintained a place in the team, and I think that's an incredible effort, to be honest. He's made the most of what he is, because I think he'd be the first season. I don't think he's definitely not the most technical footballer in the world. His journey in terms of England nationally being linking up with is totally different, where he's actually at one stage was playing for Dartmouth and working at Asda, I think, at the same time, and then he's made his way up. He was released by, I think it was Fulham, goes to Wigan, Brighton, then gets his way to Newcastle. It's an incredible journey, and Eddie Howe said in there it was one of football's great stories, and I couldn't agree more. So absolutely fair play to him. Whether he gets an actual appearance, we'll wait and see. It's a shame, because I think he probably one of the players that needed a break, and he probably expected a break. And friends and family, if Newcastle to win the Carabao Cup, I'd imagine he might want to have a few drinks after, but instead he'll have to be linking up with England 20, I think it's a Monday or the Tuesday.
Yeah.
But
that's a Carabao Cup blow for Dan Burn. It is.
He waited so long, waited for so long, and if they win, then he's got to go and link up with England. But of course, that's an exception.
Champagne problems for Dan Burn. Hopefully, anyway. Yeah. But yeah, I feel better about Newcastle's chances after this week in general. I think last week me and Liam did a video where, I mean, Liam's negativity can sometimes be infectious, where we're speaking about Newcastle's Carabao Cup final chances, and Liam did his Kennedy maths. Oh, it's 3% chance Newcastle win. I think it's the past week has worked more in Newcastle's favour. No fresh injury blows. Alexander Isak claiming to be fully fit. Liverpool have been rocked the past week, where PSG exit, playing 120 minutes, maybe they'll have the bit between the teeth and going, no, we bounce back here. But losing Trent, who was a player certainly at St James's Park, who changed the game in Liverpool's favour and helped them get back into it and score a couple of goals with Mo Salah as well. So I think if a week ago swung things even more in Liverpool's favour, this past week has just slightly moved that needle in Newcastle's favour. And so, speaking to Eddie Howe today, speaking to Bruno, Alexander Isak, just feel a little bit more positive.
Yeah, I mean, we described, or it was described on our channel as utter garbage after the game on Monday.
It was bad.
But I think for what it's done for the confidence internally, I think when Eddie Howe was speaking afterwards, saying that's a massive result, one of the biggest in our season, I think it potentially could be if they go and get a result on Sunday. And then you look at Liverpool's situation this week. I think the Trent blow is massive for them, because it leaves them without a recognised right back. I'll likely see Quansah play at right back.
He struggled at St James's Park.
Or potentially, I think Endo was mentioned as a potential right back option as well. But if it's Quansah, then it's just a shame it's not Anthony Gordon, because he absolutely had him on toast at St James's Park. And then obviously you mentioned there Trent come on and changed the game. So, but it's an opportunity, I suspect, for Harvey Barnes, who will probably start. And Harvey Barnes, to be able to get at a centre back at right back, I think he'll be looking. I think that's a great opportunity. So it's a blow for them. I think that right side coincides with Newcastle, obviously his left side being weakened probably. So that side, which was probably the strongest couple of weeks back, is now maybe the weakest, if you want to call it that. I don't know if that's fair actually, but you're losing two very big players in Lewis Hall and Anthony Gordon. They've lost an important player in Trent. Connor Bradley's out injured, so that'll be an interesting battle on that right hand side. And then, I mean, I think the other big player to play on the left hand side for Newcastle against Liverpool's right hand side is Joe Linton.
Yes,
so I think
that was your question as well.
It was, yeah. I just think he's got a massive role to play. I think we were talking about sort of changing formation. I do wonder if we'll see a left wing back type display, or we might see him at left wing back. You know, he's done that quite a few times. Was playing on that left hand side of,
not starting there, but in that
you start as the free, and you see Joe Linton sort of tuck in. And Eddie Howe mentioned there about the defensive task, and that's the sort of what I was getting at when I was asking the question, because you've lost two very big players on that side, and they didn't have Joe Linton against Liverpool at Anfield. I think the one previous year in the early season at St James's Park, I think he was pretty not influential, but
effective.
He was effective in that game, and he had a defensive task, and he stuck to it, and he done it very, very well. And I think Eddie Howe always waxes out about Joe Linton and his importance, and I do think that it carries extra weight on Sunday.
Definitely does. I think Newcastle just have to be at their absolute very best. It will have to be their best performance of the season, pretty much. Use that inspiration from the two legs against Arsenal. Very good team. Beat them, brush them aside, really. You can harness elements of the 3-3 draw against Liverpool, where for parts of that game they did run them ragged. Okay, Liverpool definitely ran Newcastle ragged as well, but look at those games. Don't look about 2 years ago, the defeat. Don't dwell on that. Don't dwell on that feeling. You know how it feels. We all know how it feels. Focus on how you win this game, and I think there's a chance. That's all. Hope is all we have.
No, it is. I mean,
it's a hope that kills you.
It is, but if you don't have hope, then what do you have? And I think everyone who goes to Wembley this weekend will say, we'll look at Liverpool and go, but then you always have that inner hope within you that history's there to be made. Is it our time?
It changes everything, as you said. And I think I'm going a bit deep, maybe, a bit far-fetched, but it's what makes football so good. It's why we love it. You are going into a game on Sunday, look, nothing might change, but there's a chance that our lives could change, that Newcastle's history could change. Everything changes for Newcastle, and I think it's a strange feeling, but it's like, this is what makes football the sport we know and love.
100%. Couldn't agree more. And we've waited a long time on Tyneside.
Yeah, there's been
to
people.
See moments.
That's the thing that, like, if I was to get emotional about, is it goes beyond you and me, even our dads. Like, it's a generational thing. I was looking at Pete Graves, Sky Sports, him speaking to Robson Green yesterday, and he speaking about the sort of feeling that he's a lot older than us, and he's never felt it either, and it's just like it's a sort of mutual feeling that we all have, or a certain age of Newcastle fans have, a big range of ages though, that we've just never felt. So the feeling of actually doing it is quite special.
You can see the more we talk about, well, I think we're trying to convince ourselves, because I feel like getting carried away a little bit on this video as the heavens open here at Whitley Park.
It's telling us to stop.
But I'm not going to go there yet. I'm not going to say, I don't know how it feels, but I'm not going to go too deep yet. Not going to go too deep yet, because they haven't won it. But if they do win it, then our post-match video will be
it will be
one
chaos.
from all three of us.
Liam Kennedy's live, if he can get one out this time, will be chaos as well. I think tears will be shed, but we'll wait and see. I think all we can do is hope for the best. And we were there last time. It wasn't great. The weekend was great. I think this time it'll
only be great if they win.
Business as usual.
Yeah.
And hopefully history will change. But hopefully Newcastle get a goal. And I'm waffling on here, but hopefully there's a goal to celebrate, at least, because something that made us laugh, which, I mean, probably lost on Bruno himself, but Bruno spoke to Rob Lee, the last Newcastle man to score at Wembley, and said he was stroking his boot, talking to his boot, hoping for good luck ahead of Wembley, hoping he can end that scoring drought where Newcastle very rarely scored. And I mean, if you know, you know. You're probably screaming down the camera, why is he stroking his boot? Because Rob Lee, quite famously, nodded the ball in against Chelsea. I say nodded, rocketed the ball in.
Rob Lee scored with his head and Bruno's kissing his boot.
Good luck.
Hey, is this club curse? We'll not get on to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it made me laugh anyway. But so innocent, Bruno. He just wants the best.
He's got the knowledge. He's just never seen the goal.
He's just never seen the goal, has he? But yeah, that was quite a funny moment. But that would be nice. That would be nice to see a goal.
Yeah, I think that's the baby step.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate a goal, and then we'll go from there. Because you're going to have to score, unless you win on penalties. You're going to have to score to win the game. So yeah, hopefully there's at least something to cheer for the 32,000 travelling fans on Sunday at Wembley Stadium, and we'll be there, joined by Liam Kennedy, our third Geordie journo. We'll be heading down tomorrow. We'll have some videos, I'm sure, to come from in and around London on the Saturday, and then all the build up to Wembley, and then reflecting on just a little game that Newcastle have to play against Liverpool. So we'll wait and see what happens. But if you like what we do, please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll have a word before we finish from our sponsors. So here they are. Comply IT Limited. Worrying about disposing of your old IT equipment? Don't be. Comply IT handle everything. Secure collection, detailed tracking, and certified data destruction. That's Comply IT Limited. We've also got Mitigate. Mitigate enhances workplace mental health, helping businesses stay compliant, reduce absences, and unlock higher productivity, creating healthier, happier teams. And of course, our OG sponsors, Four Rivers Financial Planning. Four Rivers Financial Planning offer holistic financial advice for all stages of life, ensuring your plan remains robust and adaptable in the ever-changing world we live in. So yeah, those were our three sponsors. Links in the description below, as well as the Geordie Journals shop. Unfortunately, if you want something from the Geordie Journals shop, it won't arrive in time for Wembley, so don't buy anything now. So yeah, we'll be on Wembley Way come Sunday, and yeah, this is going to be our biggest Geordie Journals video yet, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
We could be annoyed, we could be frustrated, or we could be feeling emotions we don't know how to feel.
Yeah. So yeah, our next video, I think, unless we do anything otherwise, will be after the game. But if you do want to check out anything from us before then, in the build-up to kick-off, Dom Skur, the Shields Gazette. Do I call myself by my own name?
Jordan Cronin, Newcastle World.
So check our Twitter pages, the two respective websites, lots of video content, analysis, all that stuff. And then yeah, back on YouTube, where we'll be hopefully reporting on a historic Newcastle United Cup victory.
Yes. So comment below, let us know your feelings heading into the final. Are we just waffling on, not knowing how to feel, or have you witnessed Newcastle win a trophy before? Or are you of a certain age and have been lucky enough to see that Fairs Cup win, to see the likes of Jackie Milburn win the FA Cup in 1955, or the 3 FA Cups in 5 years, as my granda used to remind me. So yeah, it's going to be a big one, and we'll be there. And please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell for all your latest Geordie Journals content. We'll see you there.